Hey, John here. Before we get into the video, I gotta mention parts. Let me give you 3 ways to know if you need parts for your pellet stoves. Number 1, if you notice your stove is louder than normal or makes unusual noises. Second, if you have a stove partially disassembled for cleaning purposes and you spin the fan blade with your finger and notice a grinding sound or it doesn't spin freely, then you know it needs to be replaced. Third and most obvious is the motor just doesn't work. It's best to find the problem with the first 2 ways because sometimes the motor can stop working and seize up and blow your circuit board too. Also, I would like to mention if you're someone like me who uses your pellet stove for primary heat, it's nice to have parts on hand so when your stove goes down you can get it up and running as quickly as possible. Here's some parts that I recommend that you have on hand, and you can buy them from the link in the description, and that'll also help my channel. A combustion motor and a fan blade, because sometimes you won't be able to get off the old fan blade. A distribution motor for your model, and I have both types in the links. A circuit board for your model. Many models take the same board. Check the description to make sure you get the right one. An ESP probe, black or red wire. An igniter if you have an automatic ignition. Also, your stove is very easy to light manually. I made a video on how to do that. An auger motor for your model. This can be optional because they rarely go bad. And I keep 4 Harman P series going all winter, so I have one on hand. And that's about it. Welcome, I'm John. Welcome to how to light a manual light stove. Or, in that case, how to light an auto light stove manually. All right, so we're gonna come back here. I wanna show you the settings. Okay, so there's 2 ways to operate the stove. There's a room temperature, which uses a probe, a room sensing probe, which I don't use. So if the temperature goes down, the stove will go up. I don't use that. I use what's called stove temp. Now on the new stoves, it has a new sticker. It's called constant burn. This one, I don't know what that's called. But this is your feed rate. This one always stays, I always keep this on 3 or 4. I've seen some people use it at 2. I don't, it just stays the same. What I'll do sometimes is I'll use this test. I'll go all the way to test with the doors closed. That's going to show me all my motors. All my motors that are working. But anyway, I'm going to put it down to 3. Feed adjuster. That's not for your heat. This is for your heat. The outside degrees, it's kind of reflect room temperature. The inside, 1 to 7. So that's what I'm going to use. And then the L and the H, that is your fan, your blower fan speed, your distribution fan speed. I always put it high. I see no reason to put it on low. So what I'm going to do, oh yeah, and I put this on 1. Actually, I run the stove mostly on low all the time. Even in the winter when I go to bed, I put it on low. When I get up, it's a little chilly, I'll turn it up, but I want to save pellets. I want to save pellets. Okay, so I'm going to leave it off. It's on low. It don't matter. It don't matter this. It has its own starting subroutine or whatever. So I leave it off. You can open this up. Can open that up. Bring this over here. Put the light so we can see. Okay. So I'm going to go back here where the pellets are. I'm going to grab me some pellets. Try to get them in the burn pot. Okay, puts a little bit more. I like to put a generous amount. Of pellets in there. Now, I gotta get a shot of this. Okay. Here's what you're gonna use to light this. I found this is way better than gel. Gel stays on top of the pellets. I don't like that. I use this 91% isopropyl alcohol. If you go to your grocery store or Walmart or something, you'll see isopropyl alcohol. There's 91. It's usually 91 and 70%. And if you go to a hardware store, there's 99%. That works too. But Yeah, the 71 is too watery. I think maybe I've had to light it with that before. I don't remember, but anyway, this is the go-to. 91 isopropyl alcohol, and you don't need very much. You don't need very much. I use probably that much. You can't see with this thing, but what I'm gonna do. Oh yeah, and let's go over something first. Basically, when you start the stove, it's a good idea to not have it smoke. Anything you can do to not have this create smoke. So basically, if I put a lot of alcohol in here, okay, a good amount, this half full or whatever, and I put the alcohol, and then I have my lighter and I light it, and then I turn it on, then close the door, I'm gonna have a big alcohol flame. And that big alcohol flame this is your temperature sensor. The only temperature, it's called an ESP probe. It's your only temperature sensor that does everything. This lives in the right next to where your exhaust comes out the stove, on the back of the stove. Once this gets hot enough, it's going to start feeding pellets. And this is used when it shuts down and everything else. But my point is, if this gets too hot right now with a big alcohol flame, and then this says, oh, we're hot enough for pellets, then it'll start feeding pellets. Well, these pellets are not even all the way burned yet. So it's going to start feeding more, and then you're going to have a big inferno flame in there. You're going to have half-lit pellets dropping into the burn pot. It will correct itself over time, but it's going to create a lot of smoke. And if you do that all the time, you're going to create creosote, and you don't want to do that. You want to minimize that. So the way I'm showing you how to light the stove is to minimize smoke. And after you do it for a while, you'll become a pro at it. Basically, what I want to do is I want it to have it light fairly slow. I want it to get these pellets really burning really good before this says, oh, we're hot now, we need more pellets. So here's how we're going to do it. Now, keep in mind, with the stove off, okay? Stove off, put some juice in here, put that in. I don't spread it all around. I just put it in and light it up. Okay. Now I'm just going to let that. I'm going to let that go for a little while. And you don't have to worry. It's not sending a lot of smoke out here. In fact, when that alcohol burns, there's no smoke. Good. Now sometimes it's going to vary. If I put too much alcohol by mistake, I let it burn more, but I kind of let it burn down. You don't want to let it burn down too much, and then it won't light, but you'll get it. You'll get it. All right, so right now I'm going to turn it on and then close the door. That you don't close the door first and turn it on. You turn it on, then close the door. Okay, we're going to do this in a second here. All right, we're going to go over here. I'm going to turn that all the way this way to stove temp, all the way that way. Okay. I'm going to close the door. Okay, you see the little flame there? I'm going to let that grow.